Amarachi Ubani.
Good evening and welcome. Tonight, Army hierarchy insists it has full capacity to fight Boko Haram, denies plans to recruit 10,000 ex-militants for terror war. A part of Prophet Pt.1 Joshua's Synagogue Church of All Nations collapses. Over 15 people killed. A tragic incident occurs in Lagos as a middle-aged woman commits suicide. And a judge pronounces Oscar Pistorius guilty of culpable homicide, says the state failed to prove he intended to kill.
And on Business News tonight, Central Bank of Nigeria to introduce the use of movable assets as collateral for small business owners.
And on sports news tonight, fears of Ebola threatens Nigeria's campaign at the CAF Under-17 Championship as Gabonese officials refuse Golden Eaglet's entry into the country.
The Nigerian military says it has scored another strategic victory when troops halted an insurgents' advance on Konduga town in Borno State today, killing about 100 militants. In a combined operation, Air Force jets and attack helicopters fired at the Boko Haram militants from above while the infantry engaged them on the ground. A statement from Colonel Timothy Antiga of Army Public Relations Directorate says the insurgents had attacked Konduga about 40 miles from Maiduguri when they were intercepted by the security forces. Colonel Antiga adds that, quote, further to the staggering loss of men, Boko Haram also suffered extensive losses in equipment, specifically 3 Hilux and 1 Buffalo vehicles mounted with anti-aircraft guns, 3 general-purpose machine guns, over 30 AK-47 rifles, and 2 global positioning systems were recovered. He confirmed that 4 Nigerian soldiers were wounded in the attack, while troops are combing the area for terrorists who may have escaped with bullet wounds. Meanwhile, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Kenneth Minima, today in Kaduna denied the purported plan by the military to recruit 10,000 ex-militants to fight Boko Haram. General Minima dismissed the report as untrue and assured Nigerians that the military has the full capacity to root out the terrorists. He made this comment at the commissioning of the ultra-modern radio diagnosis center in Kaduna. In the meantime, the House of Representatives is considering a declaration of emergency in the security sector. The chairman, House Committee on Information, Mr. Zachary Mohammed, told our correspondent, Larry Lasisi, that the fight against terrorists is one which every lawmaker must support, irrespective of their political parties.
But if there are issues that we think we add value to our corporate existence as a country, and it's brought to us by Mr. President, maybe via the documents from the conference, we'll look at it according to his merits. So, and of course, I've had people say that part of the things when we resume is to talk about tenure elongation. So before we left, nothing like that has happened. And as a parliament, as a responsible set of people, we have a pact with the Nigerian people. We have a 4-year tenure to run. That's exactly what we have in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We won't circumvent that. We can't rob Nigerians. We are aware of the sensibilities of the fact that we are just privileged few that have been asked to come and represent our people. We can't take Nigerians for granted. How far have you gone? What are your impediments? Where can we come in? Because regardless of party affiliations, regardless of our differences, this is a time that we must join hands together to make sure we end this. But I believe that there must be more political will on the part of government, because an emergency must be declared on our security sector so that we can be able to calm down this. How do other countries overcome it? We should be able to learn from them so that we avoid the pitfalls as much as possible. Because just like I told you, anywhere that terrorism starts, it does not end. You can only contain it. And I believe that we should be more concerned about containing it via a more a broader political will.
Chairman, House Committee on Information, Zachary Mohammed. It has been a tragic day in Lagos with the collapse of a section of the Synagogue Church of All Nations in the Ikoton area of the metropolis. Eyewitnesses say many are trapped and about 15 people have been found dead. Some others are injured and are at the General Hospital in the Solo area of the state. The incident occurred as some members of the church and workers, including foreign worshippers, carried out construction work on a section of the 6-story church building. A few hours later, the area reportedly caved in and collapsed. The Lagos State Emergency Management Agency says 15 bodies have been pulled out from the rubble and have been taken to the mortuary. The Synagogue Church of All Nations is headed by Prophet T.B. Joshua. Well, in the eastern parts of the south part of Nigeria, the dust raised last month of the demolition of St. Ebenezer's Anglican Church in Kwele Ezunaka in Anambra State, allegedly masterminded by the President General of the community, Chris Elomuno, is yet to settle. 7 bishops from the province of the Niger, including the Archbishop of the province of the Niger and Bishop of Agwata Diocese, Most Reverend Christian Afobi, stormed the site, demanding no compensation, but asking to be allowed to remain on the site. Already, the investigative panel set up over the demolition has submitted its report to the governor.
The demolition of St. Ebenezer's Anglican Church, Nkwele Ezunaka, in Oyi local government area of Anambra State, is a deep wound for the Anglican Communion. A few weeks ago, the clergy and the parishioners trooped out in their hundreds to protest the act. The emotion swells as church members stand to sing under the rains, calling on God for intervention. However, the Bishop on the Niger, Right Reverend Owen Nwokolo, and the Chancellor of the Diocese on the Niger, who is also a senior advocate of Nigeria, say the investigative panel set up by the government over the demolition was wrongly constituted, and the matter had been taken to court with interim injunctions secured.
The government did not set up any investigative committee. They just arranged a group of people that will favor whatever the governor says. They appointed some commissioners, he appointed, and the deputy governor to head a panel that will look into what the government is involved. And if it is investigative panel, why is it that they are not pursuing those who demolished the church? They have not arrested them. They have not even, in the terms of reference the government brought out, it's not contained in that. So how can we submit to such a thing?
A man cannot be a judge in his own cause. He cannot be a judge and decide issues concerning you. So we went to court and obtained an expert order stopping the panel from sitting. We had filed 3 matters. One, with respect to the land. We filed that one on the 18th of August. Then we filed a fundamental rights suit, which that is with respect to our rights to freedom of worship. Then we filed a 3rd suit, writ of prohibition, prohibiting the panel from sitting, and we got the order, interim injunction restraining them from disturbing us and for restraining them from entering this place. We got an order restraining them from stopping the diocese from worshiping here, and we got a 3rd order, interim order, restraining the panel from sitting, pending the determination of the main issues.
The investigative panel is done with work and has submitted its report to the governor. And as the governor ruminates through the report, the parishioners have vowed to continue religious activities on the site until they get justice.
Well, back here in Lagos, what appears to be a taboo has rattled residents of Isheri Berger in Isheri Kusi local government development area of the state. In the early hours of today, people found the body of an unidentified middle-aged woman hanging from a tree in an apparent suicide. We'd like to warn you that some of the pictures you're about to see in this next report by our correspondent Kelvin Obetin may be disturbing.
The pathetic sight of a body of a middle-aged woman hanging from a tree confronts residents of Bankole Street in Isheribeja. The spectacle is also causing this traffic jam as motorists slow down to catch a glimpse. Her identity is unknown. No one among the spectators can be identified as a relative, not even within the neighborhood. Her strange death forces shop owners to lock up, at least while the lifeless body is still hanging.
She doesn't live around here, but some people say they have been seeing her around the area, maybe Magodo or outside the Sherry. So this morning we just came and see her.
Some say she had been seen within and around adjoining streets. Her death is strange. A few even argue, doubting whether she actually killed herself. The position of the items around the spot may suggest it was a suicide.
The first person that could identify her was an Okada man. The Okada man said he has been seeing her around here. After some time, somebody came to our place, and the lady told us that she attends the same church with her and that she is sick.
This part of the streets have been cordoned off and anxious spectators have been sent away. We were told earlier that the police were here in the morning and they left, but then we are still expecting them to come back. Probably they are still carrying out the investigation as to what happened to this woman. We've been trying to reach the Lagos State government or agencies concerned that are concerned about this situation. We are still waiting and hopefully they'll come around. A team from the Lagos State Emergency Management Authority eventually arrives. But before they can settle down to work, they are confronted by some members of the community who insist that a traditional purification rite must be observed before the body is brought down.
Now, the community are saying that this is an unusual case. There are one or two things they need to do in respect of their culture and tradition and their norms, so that they will be able to get the young lady from where she's hanging herself, and then that will then in turn will be able to hand over this corpse to the state SEMO, so that they'll be able to deposit that body where it ought to be deposited.
With the traditional rites complete, the body is brought down. While the woman's death remains a mystery, the police and the Emergency Management Authority have promised to carry out thorough investigation into the actual cause of this tragedy. Kelvin Obetin, Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Osogbo quashes APC application seeking to set aside initial order granted the PDP. Please stay with us.